Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Thoughts on E3 video. In this episode, we're taking a look at Ubisoft's conference. Now, if you don't know, last year, I did these videos last year, and even though, well, technically Devolver Digital won, at the end of the day, I basically gave the award to Ubisoft. I thought they had a pretty good showing last year. A lot of games I'm interested in, right? And, well, more or less, even if I only bought a certain percentage of them. This year, it's kind of much of the same. There's a lot of stuff I am interested in, some stuff I'm not as interested in, some stuff that I should be, but I'm doubt. And yeah, let's get into it. So it started off, they made a joke about the keychain. If you didn't see, Assassin's Creed Odyssey leaked with a keychain. But yet, Bethesda basically made the same joke with Walmart Canada yesterday, and it was way better. It just didn't work in this show. Maybe it was the people who they had do it. But then they went in, and it started like every other Bethesda it started like every other Ubisoft show does with Just Dance. Which, God, who still buys Just Dance games? And the crazier part is, it's coming out on the Wii. The Wii is over 10 years old. Who's still buying Just Dance games on the Wii? It's coming to Wii U as well. I don't even know if it's coming to Xbox 360 or PlayStation. Or, Xbone One, right? 1X, whatever. Or PS4 Pro. Well, I don't know how Microsoft would do it because no Kinect, but the PS4 still has the move. But no, it's only coming to Nintendo systems. At least that's what I've seen. Which, who the hell is still buying these games? But you know, it's the typical Ubisoft opening. It goes exactly as you'd expect. Freaking dancing, oh yeah, whatever. But yet, I mean, this really does show up Bethesda yesterday with their Andrew WK. Yeah, this is 1,000 times flashier and more showmany, which is we'll get back to, but I honestly think it's one of the better things about Ubisoft's conference. From there, they went straight into Beyond Good and Evil 2. And we saw some things. There's a ship, it gets hit by a storm, and who knows where this is going to go. And then Jade shows up. Now, I skipped over a GameCube. I've never played the original Beyond Good and Evil. I did not, based on the way people talk about it, I did not know it was like this sci-fi epic adventure. They brought out, because one of the big things is it's a very community-driven game, because the directors came out and talked about, their ambition for this giant, ambitious game, which does have me worried that they aren't going to pull it off. But I know the director of the game has done some good stuff in the past, so maybe. And then they talked about this, they brought out Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he does this Hit Record, which is the studio to empower independent creators, and they're asking people to submit their music, artwork, and all that stuff to appear in Beyond Good and Evil 2. A community-driven thing, which in theory sounds cool, but anytime I've seen stuff like this in practice, it usually just ends in disaster. I hope this ends better than the way I see it in my head, but I don't know. We did actually get some gameplay, which was nice. It is cool to actually see like how the game works. It's still in early alpha, not coming out until whenever Fallout 6, or not, whenever Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, same year. I'm calling it right now. This is gonna take forever. They showed it way too early. Honestly, they should have. I know, building up hype, but I'm. It looks cool. It looks like it has potential, but I'm worried. There's so many things this could go wrong so easily. Really is. Next up, they talked about, the director came out to talk about, Rainbow Six Siege. A game, Now, when Rainbow Six Siege launched, I don't know if people liked it or not. I don't know. I remember people being kind of negative, but as time's gone on, people seem to be more and more positive about Rainbow Six Siege. And yeah, 35 million players, it is big. It has been able to develop its player base. It's been a solid foundation for a game, and yeah, the more people who play it, the better. It's not my cup of tea. And they talked about esports, right? Because esports are the big thing. Whatever. It's not my style of game. I've said that before. But I do know people are into it. I think my brothers play it. Well, I know they do. Next up, they had a guy ride out on a motorcycle, and I was like, what? Well, it's a dirt bike. God damn it. God, it's the hibiscus all over again. And, he comes out, and I'm like, what? And then on the back of his jersey, Trials. They're doing its Trials, let's see, what was the name? Trials Rising. And yep, yeah, Trials, what was it? Trials Fusion, Trials HD, great games. I'm totally on board for this. And it got a release date for February next year, which, hey, and it's coming to Switch, which, yeah, I'll buy it. Okay, you won me over. But then they brought out this Brad Hill, and he talked about they're doing this University of Trials, where to make the new Trials game, they've brought in people from the community to work on it. Which it went by fast, but was that a Jack P from Achievement Hunter? If he did something right, if he was involved with the making of this game, but I'm already sold. But that gives it to me 1,000 times over. Awesome. If that, I'll have to go rewatch the thing again, but that, yep, I'm totally on board. I'm on board with it either way. I like the previous Trials games. So yeah. Next up, they talked about The Division. Still, like I said, Microsoft showing, it's still not my style of game. Even though I do admit Microsoft showing was better, because even though it had the pre-scripted gameplay and all that shit, it at least had gameplay. This just showed a trailer, and then he went on to talk about, different factions, specialties, and all that jazz stuff. I don't care. Again, I still don't care about the game. They talked about DLC, and I was like, oh no. Oh god. But of course, the only reason they're talking about DLC is because they're giving it all away for free, which, in theory, that should be a good thing. But in practice, what it tends to mean is that our game is very lacking in content. I mean, free DLC to span out a year can work. Splatoon is my perfect example. Both Splatoon games did it great. I feel like ARMS did it really well. But I'm worried. They talked about they're adding raids to The Division, which, okay, I know raids are big. I've seen some of Destiny's raids. Yeah, sure. I did like 8-player. Okay, cool. The more the merrier. For as much as I personally prefer single-player games, on paper, I do like the idea of multiplayer. I do like the idea that, The Division is multiplayer, right? They have the ability to play with up to 8 people. The more the merrier. Sure. It's not my style of game, but hey, it's interesting for somebody. Next up, they talked about Mario plus Rabbids, and they brought out Grant Kirkhope, and they did an orchestra performance of music as they showed off the game. This is great. It's really a feeling of a conference. It's showmanship. It was well done. And it did that thing I talked about with Bethesda's conference yesterday about taking live music, and blending it with game, right? And I think it really worked. I really liked Grant Kirkhope's performance. As an onstage thing, it worked really well. And yeah, I'm excited for the DLC. It comes out end of the month. Yeah, no, sure, I'll definitely buy it. And yeah, it still looks good. It's Mario plus Rabbids was a great game. And yeah, I have no reason to expect this not to be it. Oh, yeah, the game has a season pass, doesn't it? That makes me... Are there going to be more DLCs? Yeah. Next, they moved on to Skull and Bones. This is the one I'm excited for. I said last year I was interested in it, and this year we actually got some gameplay. One of the interesting things It is basically another pirate game. It was based on Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 and their pirate missions, which I liked the pirate stuff in Assassin's Creed 3 and 4. I mean, 4 was a pirate game because the stuff in 3 worked so well. So I'm totally on board for this game. It looks really good. They showed a cinematic trailer and that looked good. They brought up the developer, he talked about the game, and then they showed actual gameplay. We saw pirates, right? We saw ship battles. It all looks good. And how, they're doing multiplayer where you can meet up with other people and their pirate ships. Okay, again, I won't use it too much in execution, but it still looks interesting. The thing that does have me worried, though, is when they go and they steal the enemy ship, he gets a legendary treasure chest. I could be reading too much into it, but that does sound a lot like microtransactions, and I really don't want microtransactions, loot boxes. That is worrisome. I mean, it could mean nothing. I could just be reading into it way too much. And if they do have loot boxes in the game, but there's something that's just default in the game that you don't buy with money, I don't, in theory, have a problem with that. But the second you start throwing real-world money into it with microtransactions and loot boxes, that loses me. So I liked what I saw, but that one little thing could kill the entire game. I'm just gonna put it out there. It doesn't come out until next year. It'll probably be our Assassin's. So we had Assassin's Creed last year. We've got Assassin's Creed this year. Next year we probably won't have an Assassin's Creed and instead Skull and Bones. Next off, they showed Elijah Wood's game Transference. It's coming to VR. Okay, it looks fine. It looks interesting. I probably won't play it, but someone's interested in Elijah Wood. His company, it has potential. I'll give it that. Okay, I'm not interested. I don't like horror in general. Next, they showed off Starlink Battle for Atlas. Based on the gameplay and what we saw, I mean, there's the obvious No Man's Skies joke. I made it last year. But it looks okay. It looks like an okay game. Nothing special. What kills it is Toys for Life. Now, I was actually a proponent of Toys for Life a few years ago. Even still technically kind of am. I was big into Skylanders. I enjoyed Skylanders. I have over 100 amiibo. I liked the idea of amiibo. The problem is every time they do Toys for Life, or at least Nintendo, right, so Disney Infinity died. Lego Dimensions died. Skylander, even though it was one of Activision's biggest franchises, is basically on indefinite hiatus. I don't expect it to return anytime soon. And Amiibo, well, Amiibo are still doing okay. They just have the shittiest in-game functionality. I mean, I guarantee we're going to find out some more Amiibo tomorrow. But Amiibo just didn't nail it. And they basically killed the Toys to Life genre. Sure, could this have potential? Sure. I still collect Amiibo, but no, it's not for me. And then they did the thing in attempts to make it for me. Star Fox. And that makes perfect sense. It's a game about ships and all that, making ships. So of course they're going to have Star Fox in it. Ubisoft and Nintendo are working together. This is really cool. I think this is a perfect fit. It still doesn't save the game for me personally. I am a mindless Nintendo fanboy, but I'm still not. It's a Toys to Life game. I think the pricing is on the Nintendo Switch. It's like $75. I know that's what that's less than that's $5 more than the Labo default kit and $5 less than the robot. But yeah, yes, the Starlink figures do look higher quality than like some of the Disney Infinity and Skylander stuff. But I'm hesitant. This does look better, but no, Star Fox isn't enough to win me over. But they did bring out Miyamoto, and they gave him something, and yeah, Miyamoto always makes the day better. He's great. He's still great. Miyamoto. Next up, they talked about For Honor, and my first reaction was, Wait, this is still a thing? Oh, and with Starlink, it comes out in October. Might as well say that. But For Honor, I was like, this is still a game. Like, wasn't it... Because I know Rainbow came out and it didn't do so well, but it built up a following base, right? 35 million it's at. For Honor just kind of died off. Nobody's talked about this game since, what, it released last February? It's basically dead. And when they came out, my first thought was, oh, they're going to make it a free-to-play game. They're going to turn it into, basically, Evolve did, right? Just free to play, and they kind of did. They're doing that much like Quake Champions, another game that is in a very similar boat. Well, I mean, it's better off than For Honor, but not by much. It's giving away a free weekend, and if you play the free weekend, you basically get the game for free. Yeah, that makes sense. Then they announced that they're doing DLC. Which, when they first started the DLC trailer, my thought was, oh my god, are they doing pirates? That would be kind of cool. Instead, it's China. They're doing Marching Fire, China. Okay, that's fine. I like pirates more, honestly. But yeah, sure, China looks cool. Will it save the game? No, it's already doomed at this point, I think. I mean, it probably has a very small dedicated community, but I don't think anything can save For Honor at this point. Even going free to play, I think would have been the best option, but we'll see. Next up, Crew 2 launches end of the month. Sure, not racing games aren't my style. They're doing an open beta on the 21st. I think a closed beta is going right now. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then they showed off Assassin's Creed. Now, again, this had been leaked. I want to say the trailer came out, like, during the middle of the show. They accidentally put the trailer up. And, yeah, no, it still looks good. I'm still totally on board for this. I love how it's like... I remember a few years ago, Ubisoft was like, oh, we don't have the resources to put a female character. So now it's basically you can just choose your gender. Like most other games, this is something that's becoming more and more standard. I don't have a problem with it, sure. Male, female, player choice doesn't really matter to me. You might as well have the option. It's not that big of a deal, but I felt like they went in trying to make a big deal out of it, and it really isn't. Because to make a big deal out of it makes it seem like it's special when it shouldn't be. It should just be standard. I know I'm white knighting, but who cares? But overall, yeah, no, there's this big thing about branching path in the game and how your options, they bring up soul crates at one point. Yeah, no, sure. It looks good. There still are, we see a trailing mission where you walk with the guy and talk to the guy. Yeah, it's still an Assassin's Creed game, even though I will admit, when we got onto this beach scene battle, it felt less like an Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed in the past few years has been less about the assassins because it got stupid. Unity and Syndicate, yeah, no, they stretch the limits. And ever since Origins, it's less about, like, assassinating and more about historical pieces, right? We did Egypt, now we're doing Greek. Next time they'll probably do Rome. It's more interesting. It's an interesting take to take it. Could they have basically started a new franchise? Kind of. But yeah, no, I think this looks good. I'm interested in it. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game. I was big into them until Unity. Unity kind of killed it for me. I didn't play Origins. I think it may be on sale. Maybe I'll pick it up. Maybe I will. But I like Assassin's Creed. I know they have the Ubisoft problems. I joked about trailing missions a few seconds ago, but that's because that's Ubisoft games. And I like, much like the Bethesda game I talked about yesterday, I like the Ubisoft game. They're not perfect, but I still find enjoyment in them. And yeah, it looked fine. It looks good. I think, yeah, and that's where they ended off the show. They had everyone up on stage, and God, that's a lot of developers. It's cool. It's cool that they have so many people. It's the sense of community. They managed to do a sense. It's basically, this is what EA was trying and failed to do. This makes them look more human. And that's what worked about Ubisoft's show. Is that it had that human, but it also had a sense of showmanship, a sense of, hey, we're putting on a performance. We're going to make this feel like a show. And that's what I think Ubisoft is better at that than any other developer. I mean, I make jokes about Just Dance, Dancing Panda, right? And how stupid it is. But it's Ubisoft putting on a show, and it does work. They did a great job at showmanship, and I think they did a great job at E3 this year. I don't know, I don't actually like giving grades, but I feel like it's something that's just kind of standard at this point. So if I were to give Ubisoft a grade, I guess I'd give them an A-. There's stuff I'm interested in. I know the people who don't like Ubisoft games won't like it, but I do. And there's a lot of stuff I am interested in. How much of it I will actually buy is anyone's guess. I am positive on Ubisoft. And yeah, tonight we have Sony, tomorrow, and then tomorrow we have Nintendo. Oh my god, it's gone so fast. But there's been some good stuff. This year's E3 is definitely turning out a lot better than some of them. It started slow, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace. Also, live stream tonight. Go Twitch, link in the description.